and welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your host, Morgan. Now, I know that our video on Wednesday was a bit of a bummer, talking about the Tampa Bay and the possible ecological disaster that's coming its way, but this week, or excuse me, not this week, but today, we're going to be discussing something a little more hopeful, a little more bright and cheery. Today, we're talking about jaguar sightings at the Arizona-New Mexico border. Did you know that jaguars actually belong in the United States? I bet you didn't. Today we're going to talk about that. So there's been this study going on for a while that's being run by the University of Wyoming and the University of Arizona to kind of monitor the jaguar habitat at the US and Mexico border to see if jaguars are entering the US. And recently, they have confirmed sightings from their video cameras and photographic evidence that, yeah, there are jaguars actually there and actually using this territory, which is really cool. Because for the last 30 or so years, jaguars in the US have been kind of a more rare sight to see, but that hasn't necessarily always been the case. This area where this habitat is has in the past been a bit more lush and there have been more big cats. But as we all know, our history with large predators, not just in the US, but in other places as well, is less than beautiful. In general, humans tend to see large predators as a threat and like to kind of wipe them out. So this is a big deal, seeing jaguars using parts of their habitat where they've been rare in the very recent past. Now, we're not going to go into a whole lot of detail about exactly what's happening because the study here is mostly they're tracking the jaguar's habitat. But we're going to geek out a little bit about why this is kind of a big deal and why this is another reason that the border wall that our previous president fantasized about so often is a very freaking unnecessary and bad idea. So it's a big deal to see a large animal like this return to a previously kind of avoided area of their range, because that kind of indicates that the ecosystem is starting to bounce back, rebalance itself. When you have these apex predators or any large animal returning, it's a good sign, and it means that conservation efforts are doing something right. And hell, I'm just excited to see a beautiful cat like the jaguar coming back to the US-Mexico border and possibly being able to take up more of its northern range again. That being said, the northern range wouldn't extend very far into the US, but it's still exciting because it's hopeful. And as a big conservation and eco-nerd myself, I love stories like this because I get so exhausted looking at headlines where it says the Florida panther is effectively extinct in the wild, or hunters in a certain state that is not to be named right now because I'm mad at it killed more wolves than they were allowed to. Those headlines are such a bummer, and bummer is not a strong enough word, but I'm trying to be not as much of a downer today. So again, we're seeing something very good. We're seeing jaguars return to a part of their range where they've been rare, and they're getting these more confirmed sightings. At least right now, they know that the young male that's kind of the center of all of these articles that I do have linked down below. Personally, if you want a more in-depth look at kind of the history of jaguars in this area and all that fun stuff, I suggest reading the AZ Central article because they did go into a lot of detail. And one of the details that they went into that the other articles really haven't is that this population of jaguars at the borderlands, they actually think that they might be genetically distinct from the jaguars that are in the more tropical regions. And that's exciting. That's a detail that people that are into biology and eco-nerds are really into. So then that suggests that this could be its own distinct population, which means there's reason to protect them even more than if they are the same genetics as the tropical species that we think of when we think of jaguars down in the tropical rainforest. When we have this distinct species, then more questions are going to pop up, like what else is distinct about them? Is their behavior different? Is their lifestyle different? Is there a possibility that they may be moving into other areas as well? Who knows? It's exciting. And as you can tell, conservation, ecology, that stuff, it excites me, and I kind of am word vomiting a little bit right now, and I recognize that. But this brings me to my next point, especially if this is a distinct species up at the borderlands. A border wall there is going to cut their habitat up and basically possibly isolate any jaguar that gets trapped on the US side. So it's another reason why that border wall is an absolute travesty, and we need to look into restoring what's already been damaged. I can go on and on about that particular topic, and in fact I have in a previous video that if I remember when I publish this video, I will link it down below, but don't hold me to that promise because I'll likely forget. I can be a bit of an airhead sometimes. That's pretty much where I'm gonna end this today because I'm excited. The confirmed jaguar sighting and the confirmation that there's at least that young male living in the area. I can ramble on and on about my feelings for it, but I'm gonna start saying the same things over and over again. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, afternoon, evening, what have you. Leave your thoughts about this down in the comment section below. Possibly give me a like, possibly subscribe if you feel like extending me that little generosity, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you again for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell if you would like to see more. And if you'd like to follow me on any of my other social medias, the links are down in the description below. Don't forget to check out thereptilegoth.com for all of my articles and blog posts. If you found any value in this video and you would like to help support the channel, please check out my Patreon page. That link is also in the description down below. And a special thanks goes out to my Diamond Dragon patron, Diane V. What you're doing is really helping me fund a dream here. I will see you guys all in the next one.